Dragon's Lair was an arcade game that came out in 1983. Originally released by Cinematronics, it was created by Don Bluth Studios. For those unaware, Don Bluth is a Western animator known for Pete's Dragon, All Dogs Go to Heaven, An American Tail, and for this example, Dragon's Lair. To make an example of arcade games at the time in 1983, games out at the time like Tapper, Mad Planets, Gyrus, and the original Mario Brothers. For the time, all of these games were fantastic, but would pale in comparison when next to Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair at the time was the only game in the arcade to be using Laserdisc technology, while other games in the arcade used traditional coding to get their graphics and sound. Dragon's Lair had upped this by using hand-drawn animation along with recording sound in a studio like you would a movie.
For the first time, we've put the hands of the engineers who have heretofore been the game designers. They've designed all the games we see in the arcades. Now we're taking Hollywood and the screenwriters and the people that work with dramatics and we're putting them hand in hand so that engineers and dramatists, if you will now work on what will be in the arcade market. And that's why I think you'll find something that is tremendously more exciting, something that will pull you into the screen like you haven't been pulled before.
The game was played by running a player through scenarios. Each scenario is an animation pulled up on the disc. Once the animation is pulled up, the player has a very short amount of time to put in a certain input in order to avoid dying in the scenario.
To give the illusion that the game player is in control, when indeed he may not be. But you must give that illusion. I thought, well, that's right up our alley, that's movie making. Give the illusion, present a moment to him in which he must react, a moment of danger, and then get him to react to that moment at the right moment. Then you'll see another scene in which he is saved from that. I thought, well, that's very interesting. How can I design a game which will present enough of those moments in short little periods of time to where the game becomes exciting and gets him keyed up? And that was the challenge of designing the game.
Dragon's Lair went above and beyond, topping arcade games for what we would get for years. Not only did it look better than what was out at the time, it still held up a decade later going against the games in the early 90s, and even then you could say it looked better. In 1984, Dragon's Lair also got its own TV show. Originally airing on ABC, the show would have reruns on USA Cartoon Express and also aired on Toonami and Boomerang.
Master Dirk, I have a bad feeling about Crowswood.
It must be your imagination.
The network must have had some bad feelings too, seeing as this only lasted one season, and was cancelled after only 13 episodes. Within the same year, the cartoon Space Ace released. Space Ace was done by the same team as Dragon's Lair, using the same techniques with Laserdisc, combined with hand-drawn animation. But it wasn't as well received as Dragon's Lair was. But that's a game for another time. Over time, Dragon's Lair would release on many different systems. And yes, you've seen that right, the Game Boy Color. While some ports like the NES and Coleco Adam couldn't replicate the experience, over years it got better with re-releases of the original arcade game on home consoles. And yes, that includes the previously mentioned Game Boy Color port. While Dragon's Lair may have seemed unstoppable, there was only two main games released in the series. The second being Dragon's Lair 2: Time Warp, releasing in 1991, 8 years after the original game. While it might have taken 8 years to hit arcade, the animation only took 3 years to do. Upon Dragon's Lair 2's release, once again, it was not as well received as its original, saying that FMV games have lost their novelty, and the game was not as replayable as its original. While Dragon's Lair had done a lot for gaming at the time, it never really faded away into obscurity, and today is known as a gaming classic. So much so that a few years ago, Kickstarter was founded by Don Bluth to make a Dragon's Lair movie, and after 2 attempts it was funded.
Very proud because I think it did prove that classical animation can be done in today's economy. And so many people were saying that it can't. You know, that kind of thing is gone. There was a golden age and it's all over. And I don't believe that's really true. I think if you want it to happen, you can make it happen.
While Dragon's Lair might not be in its prime like it once was, it definitely left its mark in gaming history forever. It came out the gate swinging with amazing animation, and it showed that games could be more interactive than just 16 bits. So here's the Dragon's Lair. May it be ported another million times on another million different consoles. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a little video I decided to make called Quick History. If you want to support the channel, my Patreon is down in the description. It takes time to make these videos, and I feel like this is going to be a shorter end one compared to what I have going on. It would help out a ton. But anyway, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. I will talk to you guys later, and bye-bye.